My background in education is I have a BSc in childhood education, P4, from Henderson State University. I also have an MSc in reading from Henderson State University. And so I decided to pursue my dream in teaching after another career that I had in retail for many years. So, but teaching was my first dream. And so when I was able to go back to school, this is where I ended up, where I wanted to be. I'm originally I was born in Hot Springs, and I went to school for a small amount of time in Hot Springs as a child, but we grew up in California, Los Angeles. But my mom married someone from Malvern, so we came back to Malvern when I was older, graduated, and I married someone from Malvern, so here I am. Well, what inspired me is because my mother, she would always read to us as children. She would invest in a lot of books and stuff, and we would always read and talk about the books that we were reading. I don't know, you're probably too young to remember those childcraft books, but she would buy childcraft books and encyclopedias when we were kids, and we would love to read those books as a family. And she was a single parent for a long time coming up until she got married. And so we were just always into reading. And she stressed reading to us when we were kids. And so I just love reading and learning. And so, I just loved it. My mom went through a really bad patch when we were kids, and we ended up homeless. And I tell my kids about that. And we were homeless at one time, and we were hungry at one time. And that's why I worked extra hard in school. And I told them, I said, look, I said, it was seven of us. And I said, and we were hungry. We didn't have the best clothes. We were homeless. We ended up living in a shelter. And I said, but guess what? All of us finished school. All of us made something out of ourselves. All of us made our mom proud. I said, so you can do it. My first novel was in the fourth grade. The first book I read was called The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. And then I read The Hobbit by Tolkien. And so I've always loved reading. And so I became a reading teacher. And and I've always loved teaching reading to my students. No matter what subject area I've taught, I always incorporate reading somewhere. What I enjoy most is the camaraderie. I love the my coworkers, and I just love the atmosphere. We have a wonderful administrative team here. They're very supportive. They're very encouraging, um, and just I love the freedom to teach your curriculum the way you want to teach it, following the standards, of course. But I love the availability of all the tools that you need to teach your students. I love to do things out of the box, and they have allowed me to use my creativity with my students, and they just do so many things. Like, for instance, during Native American months, I asked my kids to bring small sticks and leaves and stuff when all the leaves were on the ground. And we studied how they lived in teepees, wigwams, and longhouses. Well, we made those teepees, wigwams, and longhouses. We had leaves all in the hallway and everything like that. Not many schools would allow that, but Miss McCormick, being as wonderful as she is, she allowed me to be creative with all the students, and they learn how to collaborate, learn how to work together, and be creative with with their ideas, and also learn about history and social studies, and learn how the past has affected the way we live today as well. So, you know, not many schools allow you to be creative with your subject area. So I love that about Malvern. They're learning about their environment. They're learning about how history has affected the way we live now. I would say my teaching philosophy and style is that all kids can learn. All kids can learn in their own way. And me, I would say, I can't speak for everyone, is just finding out how, to unlock the key to their learning. You know, just I just feel like there is a way to reach them where they are, you know, by being creative and not just saying, okay, this is what the papers say, we're going to do it like this and that's it. Just treating all of my students fairly. But one thing I've learned from teaching so long, I hear people say, you got to treat them all the same. All students are not the same. Like, we're not all the same. Some students just need a little bit more. Some come from abusive homes. They need that extra hug, right? So, but you treat them all with love and caring. But some students need that extra love. I just feel like fourth grade was the perfect grade for me. And I've done it for 20 years. I hope they take away that they are really cared about, that their teacher cared about them, and that their teacher, Miss Jones, loved them and saw the best in them and believed that they could do it. When my husband went on hospice, he's been gone maybe a year now. My kids were wonderful. They made cards. They were so supportive. The kids are so lovable. They are so lovable. They're so caring. But they know, like I said, if you care about them, they'll do all they can to make you happy. And they want you to be proud of them as their teacher. And they'll work hard. My husband was in the Air Force. He worked at the fire department in the Air Force. He was part of the fire department in the Air Force. He was such a good guy. He was a good husband, very good dad, and just such a nice person. We had a good life. I miss him. Outside of teaching, what are some of my hobbies? I know this sounds sad, but I watch action shows on Netflix. I love action movies. And I'm very active in my church, very active. It keeps me busy, especially since I lost my husband. And we were both active in the church. But I like to read. I like to do some painting and drawing. I like to read. Sing in a choir. And I'm trying to get busy at the gym a little bit more. I want my daughter to have a baby. I want to be a grandma. My husband was married before, so I have stepkids, but I don't see them a lot, but I want one of my own,
Well, thank you, Miss Jones. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. I look good on camera. Edit me and make sure I look good.